There is a place that is spoken about only in whispers, a dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends, a place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view, but when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Hello and welcome. You're tuned in to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Tim Dennis is still off dealing with COVID. He is getting better day by day, folks. It is a struggle. He is definitely taken the brunt of this illness and is still in need of your prayers and healing. So keep him in your thoughts. We'd appreciate that. We've got a lot of crazy stories to cover this week, a lot of strange news and some emails. But I also want to continue to remind you to check out the Shock Doc Demon in the White House, streaming right now exclusively on Discovery Plus. It is a new Shock Doc, which is a shocking documentary as we examine the paranormal rifts that may have been opened during the tenure of different presidents and their wives in the White House. How does that affect supernatural activity? Does it invite and open doors to other creatures, beings, demonic forces? Check it out. It's a cool little shock doc you can watch now on Discovery Plus. I think you guys will enjoy it. I'm a part of it. Jeff Belanger's a part of it. Joshua P. Warren. There are quite a few other people involved, so I hope you'll examine it and check it out for yourself. Our first news story is so exciting, so bloody exciting. Well, not all the time. I mean, but it's exciting for one person, and that's the American Snallygaster. That's right. We've been friends with Snally on this show now for about 12 years, and there's big news. The American Snallygaster cryptid is getting its own museum. At the end of The Wizard of Oz, the wizard gave the scarecrow a diploma, a visible symbol to others of his intelligence. In the world outside of cryptozoology, a cryptid wanting to people to recognize it needs kind of a similar visible sign, a book, a movie, an annual festival, things like that. And very few people outside of our army of darkness have ever even heard of the Snallygaster, which is a crime if you ask me. I understand, Snally. It is a crime. There's no reason on the pantheon of cryptid beings you should be overshadowed by Bigfoot, Dogman, Loch Ness Monster. Don't even get me started. I'm telling you, all it is just I can't afford the same PR people that they can. They're out there hiring the best from Hinkowitz, Dorowitz, and Bemowitz, and they're out promoting, publicizing, and keeping them out in the open, but not Snally. No, I got to collect aluminum in cans in order to reach out and be able to afford my groceries while other cryptids are living high on the hog because of good press releases. I understand that's very, very disheartening, Snally, but the world has caught up to you, my friend, because now there is a change taking place in 2022 when this Maryland cryptid gets its own museum. Its own museum. Snally, I am so proud of you. Well, it's about damn time. I've been flying around with me tentacles swinging in the wind, abducting children, eating puppies. Nobody takes notice. It's ridiculous. I'm also a big fan of cryptids and cryptozoology. It's my favorite thing. And when I moved to Maryland a few years ago, I started to do all this research about the folklore. And I found out about the Snallygaster. And I was like, why isn't this more of a thing? It will be when Sarah Cooper opens the American Snallygaster Museum in Frederick, Maryland in 2021. Why does the Snallygaster deserve its own museum? Let me tell you. Can you think of any other cryptid that was on the hunting list of a U.S. president? According to Daily Yonder, Cooper's museum will tell the stories of the Snallygaster going all the way back into the 1730s when German immigrants settled in Friedrich and began seeing the Schnellergeist, or quick ghost, that was described as half bird, half reptile chimera with a metal beak, sharp teeth, red eyes, and the ability to silently swoop down and grab humans with its octopus tentacles, carrying them off to suck out their blood. Oh, pardon me, I don't suck the blood. It's disgusting. I'm simply in it to eat the brains. The brains are delicious. Maybe once in a while I'll try to fry up a little pancreas, but the blood, ugh, it tastes horrible. Imagine, if you will, warmed up Jell-O with chunks of disgusting cranberries in it going down your gullet. That is not a tasty treat. Let me be the first to tell you. The brains, the pancreas, oh yes, those are delicious. But no, I'm not a bloodsucker. I leave that to Chupacabra. That's his gig. He's all about the sucking the blood. Not me, Pally. But then again, $20 is $20. Now, according to legend, painting a 7-pointed star on a barn or a house protected its contents and residents from a Snallygaster. Snally, why the 7-pointed star? Well, it's just, look at it, it's creepy. There's all these pointy things on it, and I don't know what it means. It doesn't look like a welcome sign to me. I'm not going to go in and touch stuff and do things in a place that's got one of these overly pointy stars on it. Forget you, me. Well, now, this sounds like a myth created by Native Americans to scare off white settlers. Reports of Snallygaster sightings and encounters persisted into the 1900s, when the Smithsonian Institute offered a reward for a Snallygaster hide, and U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt reportedly considered postponing an African safari to personally hunt this cryptid. And long before the movies made it popular, the Snallygaster had a monster enemy, the Dueo, or Dueo, a dogman-like creature said to stand 6 feet tall and be able to kill Snallygasters. Oh, that's all hype and baloney. I will have you know there was no 6-foot dog that could take on this beast of a creature that you have got your eyes upon, David Schrader. Let me tell you, with me tentacles alone, I could keep that dog at bay, just throwing tennis balls so Dogman keeps running off, and he's not bright. Sometimes I ain't even got a tennis ball in me tentacle. I just pretend to throw, and that moron runs off into the woods looking for it. That seems cruel, Snally. Truthfully, I mean, just abusing the Dueo that way. It's not abuse. They're trying to nibble on my tentacles. And ain't nobody want the tentacles nibbled on. Do you, David Schrader? Do you? No, I don't. You're right. Nobody I know wants her tentacles nibbled on. Now, while the Dueo may be more fearsome, I don't think so. All right, relax. It doesn't have a museum. Ta-da! See? Finally, I'm getting the recognition that I so richly deserve. Now, Cooper currently houses all of her Snallygaster info and paraphernalia in her home until she and her husband finish building the barn that will hold the museum. The collection includes art, artifacts, and pop culture pieces featuring Maryland's own dragon. More info on tours, merchandise, and schedules is available at the Snallygaster Museum website, including details on when the next Snallygaster will be born. They're said to live for 20 years, then stay buried for 20 years before hatching again. So Cooper calculates we're due to see another Snallygaster in 2024. Will it visit the museum? I most certainly will not, unless, of course, I get the family and friends discount, because I don't think I should have to pay full price to enter me own museum. Well, I'm sure they're going to let you in, Snally. I mean, nobody who's going to charge you to go in to your own museum. Well, people, you know how they are about money, Dave. I just can't be too certain at this point. So I will go in if I am formally invited to do such, but don't expect me to go knocking on their door looking like some desperate, clingy celebrity looking to sign autographs at a meet and greet swap. Well, that's cruel as a guy who goes and signs autographs, Snally. You know, people like that. They like that kind of content. I'm not signing no autographs. First of all, ain't nobody got a lens big enough to get my entire photograph. So what am I going to sign? Pictures of me tentacles? I don't think so. Not in the hashtag #MeToo environment. That's fair enough. I understand completely. but a new Snallygaster in 2024. I feel like we've been such friends with you for so long that I don't want to see you go, Snally. Do you die out and then the next one takes up? Oh, this is a shenanigans, Dave Schrader, shenanigans. The Snallygaster, we live as long as we want. As a matter of fact, I've got 4 generations under my roof in a townhouse in Eagan, Minnesota. It is cramped as hell, and it smells a lot like calamari, but it's our place, and we're happy to be there. Now, yes, there is a new one that will be born in 2024. I'm a little worried, to be honest with you, because it's kind of an inbred situation between me first cousin and my little brother, Stanley. Yes, Snallygaster. That's his name. I didn't name him. Don't give me the disparaging look. All right, well, congratulations on becoming an uncle again, Snally. That's fantastic. I'm glad that you're going to have this opportunity. But now, will like all of the major Snallygaster duties fall onto your nephew's shoulders or niece's shoulders, I guess, to go out and, propagate eating children and puppies and snatching people up with their tentacles? Well, of course, there is a learning curve. And I will be the one to train this little imp to come out and do all these wondrous and magical things. But if you don't pick up on it quick enough, I'm just going to continue in this reign. I'm kind of like the Queen Elizabeth of my court. I refuse to abdicate. Besides, I look amazing in a crown. Fair enough. Thank you so much, Snally. Congratulations. This is great news. I'm so excited to hear that you've got your own museum. I hope people will go check it out. Again, remember, go check out the Snallygaster Museum website. And we have a link up for that on today's program guide. And Snally, looking at the photograph here, I don't think they're doing you justice. This photograph that they have up at the Snallygaster, American Snallygaster Museum is worse than the creature that is on the cover of the Fred Flintstone book, Fred Meets the Snallygaster. That was a very embarrassing part of our history. There was a little bit of crazy crossbreeding going on with some of our family early on. You can't hold on to me about that because that was the Cretaceous period, David. Just so you're aware, there was all kinds of weird stuff. It was like the freaky 70s for you humans. Free love and drugs and all kinds of crazy music. Next thing you know, we've got lion-headed Snallygasters. It's a very weird moment in history, but we don't talk about it much. Well, thank you for coming on, sharing your time with us. And again, folks, go check out Maryland's famously unknown state cryptid, the Snallygaster. Finally has its own home, and we do have a link up for that. I'm excited. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the years of being friends with Snally and knowing how he's been overlooked to now finally realize his place in American history. He will not be forgotten. Snally, congratulations from us to you at Darkness Radio. Hey, scientists have built their first living robot that can reproduce. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can bet Tim's at home itching and twitching right now in his bed listening to this story. Maybe the saving grace is that it's cute and it looks like Pac-Man. In a potential breakthrough for regenerative medicine, scientists have created the first ever living robots that can reproduce. They're millimeter-sized living machines called Xenobots 3.0. And they're neither traditional robots nor a species of animal, but living, programmable organisms. Made from frog cells, not sogfrels, but frog cells, the computer-designed organisms created by a U.S. team gather single cells inside a Pac-Man-shaped mouth and then release babies that look more like their parents. Self-replicating living bio-robots could enable more direct, personalized drug treatment for traumatic injury, birth defects, cancer, aging, and more. So what are Xenobots? Xenobots are neither a traditional robot, as I said, nor a known species of animal, but instead it's a hybridization, a living programmable organism. They are made out of adapted stem cells from Xenopus laevis, an African species of frog. Their shape has been designed by a computer to be able to replicate over multiple generations. No animal or plant known to science replicates this way. Xenobots will help develop computer-designed organisms for intelligent drug delivery. Xenobots are the work of biologists and computer scientists at Tufts University and the University of Vermont, who have detailed their creation in a new study. Xenobots 3.0 follow the original Xenobots, reported in 2020, as the first living robots, and Xenobots 2.0, which can self-propel using hair-like legs called cilia and have the ability to keep memories. Now, we found Xenobots that walk, we found Xenobots that swim, and now in this study, we found Xenobots that kinematically replicate, said study author Joshua Bongard, a computer scientist and robotics expert at the University of Vermont. We've discovered that there is a previously unknown space within organisms or living systems, and it's a vast space. Xenobots will help develop computer-designed organisms for intelligent drug delivery, according to the team. If we knew how to tell collections of cells to do what we wanted them to do, ultimately, that's regenerative medicine. That's the solution to traumatic injury, birth defects, cancer, and aging, said Michael Levin at Tufts University. All of these different problems are here because we don't know how to predict and control what groups of cells are going to build. Xenobots are a new platform for teaching us. And it looks like a red Pac-Man eating a little green ball of energy created by stem cells. I guess stem cells are the special human cells that have the ability to develop into many different cell types, from muscle cells to brain cells. In some cases, they also have the ability to repair damaged tissue. Stem cells are divided into two main forms: embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. Embryonic stem cells can become all cell types of the body because they are pluripotent. They can give rise to many different cell types. Adult stem cells are found in most adult tissues, such as bone marrow or fat, but have a more limited ability to give rise to various cells of the body. Meanwhile, induced pluripotent stem cells are adult cells that have been genetically reprogrammed to be more like embryonic stem cells. Stem cells, which can turn into any tissue or organ, were harvested from the embryos of the frogs and left to incubate. Then the tiny forceps were brought out, and even a smaller electrode, a microsurgeon, cut and joined this together. This is remarkable science, folks. We have entered into a whole new realm of history. You realize these scientists have created something unbelievable. I mean, this is straight out of science fiction, straight out of something from Star Trek that we're looking at. I am completely and utterly fascinated by this, and that this may help us deal with cancer, maybe other diseases like autoimmune diseases like Crohn's. And this, just so we all know, this is like Crohn's and Colitis Awareness Week. Folks, if you know anybody with it, do yourself a favor and do a little studying to realize what these people have to go through that are living with this. It's horrible. But maybe helping in juvenile diabetes, in all forms of diabetes. If we've got these new living robots that can go in and introduce themselves into the environment and save people, that is huge. That is unbelievably remarkable. I'm psyched about it. I hope you are as well. All right, let's see where we go next. Oh, we're going to visit in with a buddy of ours, the bizarre history of Minnesota. There's a virtual event set for December 4th. Chad Lewis, a longtime friend of our show, will host a virtual Bizarre History of Minnesota presentation at 3 p.m. on Saturday, December 4th, through the Bemidji Public Library Facebook page. So go look up the Bemidji Public Library Facebook page so that you don't miss out. Chad Lewis will host a virtual Bizarre History of Minnesota presentation at 3 p.m. this Saturday, December 4th, through the Bemidji Public Library Facebook page. During the event, Lewis will teach attendees about Minnesota's strange deaths, ghosts, sea serpents, medical anomalies, psychic phenomena, and more, according to this new press release. For nearly 3 decades now, Chad Lewis has traveled the back roads of the world in search of the strange and unusual. The release said, from tracking vampires in Transylvania and searching for the elusive monster of Loch Ness to trailing the dangerous Tata Duende through remote villages of Belize and searching for ghosts in Ireland's haunted castles, he has scoured the earth in search of the paranormal. There is no cost to attend this. Pre-registration is not required. Just join the Facebook Live on the day of the event, and you can visit the Bemidji Public Library Facebook page to get that. Go check it out. Chad Lewis is a font of amazing information, one of our favorite guests on the show, and I think if you're looking for something to entertain you this Saturday, that is going to be one of the best tickets out there, and it's free of charge. You can't go wrong with that. Free of charge. It's like you're stealing from me in order to get that. Well, not me, I guess. I'm not the one in charge. All right. We're going to the Irish Sun for this next story. High spirits. People have been left stunned by a seemingly paranormal figure snapped in Galway, with many claiming they see a woman. The Paranormal Supernatural Investigations Ireland group captured the image during a paranormal investigation on Friday at Ross Early Friary, Headford, County, Galway, where it's believed several tragic events took place. And again, go to darknessradio.com, click on the news tab. You'll see these news stories posted there so that you can check them out for yourself, see the images, see the videos, everything there. The image was taken using a structured light scanning camera. One image shows the SLS camera detecting the possible image of a person on a tablet screen. When this happens, the group takes a lot of pictures from their cameras to see if they can capture any anomalies. PSI Ireland's Richard Morrison said the group are currently investigating this spooky picture. He told the Irish Sun, "We've done a bit more research into the friary itself, and it was actually a Franciscan monastery up until the early or mid-1700s. It was obviously monks who were there, but most of our followers were saying this picture is definitely a female. So we're wondering why there was a female connected to the abbey. After looking into it, we realized there is actually family crypts and tombs that were placed inside the abbey in the early 1800s. So you have families being buried there, wealthy local families being buried inside the abbey. That is closing the dots up for us. And we believe that is why a female presence may be connected to the abbey itself. We're going to go back again for another investigation. And as you can see, that there's probably one of the best images we've ever captured. You can clearly see that the structured light scanning camera is actually seeing an image. PSI Ireland's Facebook followers were convinced they could see the figure of a female. One wrote, "That figure is so clear," while another commented, "A lovely lady, I'm guessing." Another said, "I see a baby and a small child also, possibly been carried." And one more added, "I see a woman that's carrying a baby and also a man's face at the bottom of the photo." Some 200 monks were imprisoned in the friary in 1538 at the Franciscans had loudly opposed King Henry VIII's break with Rome. An indeterminate number of others were banished or killed. The rest of the Franciscans' history at Ross Ellery would be marked by repeated evictions and other persecutions. PSI Ireland, founded back in February of 2019, and Richard has been involved in paranormal activities now for nearly 7.5 years. He said that the group will be returning to investigate further. He said the only reason we actually wanted to go and do an investigation there was purely because people have been telling us that there is a supposed spirit of a monk that resides inside the abbey. That was one of the key reasons we wanted to do an investigation, to capture that image. That's why we're looking at it and wondering if it's related to the monk. So again, if you'd like to see the image for yourself, I'm not overwhelmed by it. To me, it just looks like you're looking through a darkened window, a limited light source, perhaps from the flash, creating a light pattern on the brick and it's not concrete, but the slate back there. But I don't know. You guys go take a look at it for yourselves. Let me know what you see. I personally do not see what they think is going on there. So again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but maybe I'm wrong. Take a look at it for yourself. You can always email me, dave@darknessradio.com, and let me know what you think. Since we're talking about Henry VIII, paranormal hunters frightened by a freaky ghost of Henry VIII. That's right. The ghost of Henry VIII has terrified paranormal experiencers. Tony Ferguson and Paul Kissel were spooked on a visit to Hurst Castle, which was built by the Tudor king in 1544, when a strange ghost-like mist appeared and moved toward their camera. Ferguson believes it could be the ghost of the king, who famously had 6 wives. He told the Daily Star newspaper it could quite possibly be Henry VIII. We have visited several times, and each time the activity gets darker and just a little more sinister every time. Ferguson added that he has studied the footage and believes that the spirit was targeting his ghost hunting friend. He explained, I heard a massive bang. I came down and Paul wasn't with it. He was very disoriented, and I noticed he wasn't making any sense. He seemed to be overtaken by something, and whatever it was very angry and seems to vent the anger out on the camera. He was in a daze and wasn't himself. So bad we had to leave. Creepy story. Weird bit. Here's an interesting piece of history for those of you out there. King Henry VIII was so fat. How fat was he? I'm getting to it. He was so fat that his body actually exploded inside his coffin, and dogs licked up the spilled remains as it stood there on display. Oof. It's a cheery thought, isn't it? Happy, cheery thought. Hey, let me remind you, we have an event coming up in January, our Holzer Files Hell Frozen Over event. Shane Pittman from the Holzer Files, myself, and Bill Chappell, the paranormal engineer, medium, psychic, Jamie Hauk. They're going to join us. We're going to do a full investigation. We're going to have some fun there. We have general admission tickets still left to attend all of the parties and the talks. The ghost hunt element is sold out completely. The hotel is sold out, but there are other great hotels in the vicinity. And when you sign up for the general admission ticket with us, we do send you a confirmation email with the different hotels in the area to help you find a place to stay. If you're interested, come see us. It's going to be a great time. Shane, myself from the Holzer Files, our buddy Bill Chappell, the paranormal engineer, and psychic medium Jamie Hauk will all be on hand for the weekend, and it's going to be a blast. This is one of my favorite places to investigate, and I'm looking forward to seeing many of you there. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we've got more stories to share, more strange encounters, including an angry pub ghost throwing a glass of beer. What next? Stay tuned and find out here on Darkness Radio. We're back. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Keep those prayers and positivity and energy and healing thoughts going to Tim as he continues to battle COVID. He is starting to turn the corner and come around on the other side of this thing, but he is still out. So please keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Our next story, ghost appears to knock over a glass of beer in a closed-circuit TV video. It's always exciting when something weird happens, especially when it happens on camera. You know, it's one thing to be in a location and hear these stories, have people relate to you the very bizarre things that they've encountered or seen. And although the stories are infinitely interesting, they still leave us, most of us, wondering, is there any reality to this? When am I going to see something? When am I going to have that moment of clarity and have my own paranormal experience? And sometimes there's a camera in the right place at the right time that can capture these images. And that's what happens here. Now, in the video, a man is casually sitting at the bar in the pub while speaking with the staff. He has a glass of beer at his side. Everything looks normal until the glass of beer begins to suddenly move a few inches on the bar. It doesn't stop, though. No. That'd be much too easy, right? This doesn't stop. This spirit is obviously angry that this guy went with a light beer when it is obviously a Guinness day and ends up chucking the cup over. Now, the skeptic in me will tell you that watching this, I've been in enough bars, and if they ice the glasses, sometimes you'll get those little round bumps of ice on the bottom of the glass, and as it sits on the counter on the bar and it starts to melt, it'll actually start to slide your glass. But the thing that I'm aware of, every trip we've made over to Europe, to England, Ireland, Scotland, they don't ice their glasses there. That just doesn't happen. So let me see if I can play this video for you guys. If you're watching it on our Darkness Radio live stream here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, hopefully you'll be able to see this. Let me go in, grab it, and see if we can place this. So hold on here. All right. I'll take down the image I was sharing with you guys, and we are going to attempt to show the the video itself. Let me see if I can even enlarge this a little bit. Here, I'll bring it back. We'll do that again.
That is very odd. Oh my God. Baby. Well, it's not that bad, like. But if I was her, then I could.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you. That looks pretty intense. I mean, it starts off slow and then it kind of flings itself on to the bar and falls over, spilling. It is definitely weird. A very interesting piece of video. Bars seem to attract strange phenomena anyway. And a lot of the bars that we've got, they've thrown glasses, thrown bottles off of shelves, moved chairs. Let's see if there's any more information on this. It says Darla Anderson, who owns the pub and can also be seen in the video, does believe something paranormal caused the beer to spill, as she stated while speaking with the Sunderland Echo. I remember I was just looking at the pint and then it just fell over. Now I'm wondering, though, did she give this guy a free beer to refill the beer he just lost, or was that, an act of God, an SOL minute? Sorry, buddy. We love you. I'm so glad that you're here visiting with us, but your beer. The ghost didn't want you to have it. They cut you off. It's definitely a strange looking circumstance. Who's to say what really caused the beer to spill over, but could it have been a ghost? Go check it out on our website for yourself. All you have to do is go to darknessradio.com, click on the news tab, and you'll be able to keep up with us and see all of the imagery and strange stories we have there. Let me go into a listener story here. Hi, guys. My name is Linnell from the Metro Detroit area. I'm a longtime listener. First time writing in. I look forward to Darkness Radio every week. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. She says, I'm sending this story in on behalf of my husband's friend. Dr. Mike, not his real name, is a physician who occasionally moonlights at a hospital across the river in Windsor, Ontario. One evening, he's seeing his patient, an elderly man, in his room at the hospital. The room is in the wing of the hospital that used to be the children's wing. Now, I'm going to take 2 seconds to pause here while I'm reading the story, because for those of you following along on our live video feed and stream, I'm actually going to share with you the picture that they've shared with me and see what you guys see. I will weigh in on it in just a few moments once we get through this part of the story. The man asks Dr. Mike why he's brought the little girl with him. Dr. Mike says he hasn't brought anyone with him, but turns around to look behind him anyway. He doesn't see anything. The elderly man insists that he sees a girl behind Dr. Mike. Now, in order to assure the patient that there's nobody there, he takes out his mobile phone and snaps a few photos in the general direction of where the man is pointing. The photo is attached, and I'll have that up on our website as well at darknessradio.com. I've attached the photo of one of the photos he took. What do you see? And truthfully, I see this little girl in like a gingham dress, very faded out. It is three-dimensional looking, so I can see this child there. But there are a few apps out there, Ghost Capture and Ghost Cam, I think are what they're called. And I've seen this little girl in that gingham dress before. So I think Dr. Mike is pulling your leg, or somebody happened to capture a photograph that looks eerily like these fake old-timey ghost photos that are part of the Ghost Capture. So you can take pictures like this, and then you add in, and you can change the opaqueness. Is that the word? Opacity, whatever it is, so that you can either see through them or not. I think that's what we're looking at. Now, I could be wrong. If there's any of you out there that are smarter than me, which probably quite a few of you fall under that umbrella, and you have those Ghost Cam and Ghost Capture apps, and this little girl doesn't match up at all, then reach out to me and let me know, because it's certainly something I would like to talk about and reinvestigate. But thank you very much for sharing your picture and your story with us. It is crazy. Hello, guys. Listening to the June 23rd podcast, year unknown, about the well to hell, ADC, etc. And on my way to work, and what Tim said to Chef Jan about cannabis affecting dream travel made me wonder about something. I've had horrible, vivid nightmares since age 5, essentially getting my ass kicked, similarly to what Tim described. Without long, drawn-out stories, when I was with bad men, they were almost always bad men, the dreams would be even more violent. Listening to Tim, I began to wonder, is there a subset of people who are especially open to attack when asleep? Also, are we especially open to being targeted in all ways by creepy, crawly nasties? What would we be called? Why us? I started the Saints prayer like Tim suggested, and they are helping. Thank you so much for that. I always have done the Lord's Prayer and added St. Michael's as well as others I feel are right for me. Your input on my questions, I think, would be helpful for me. Thank you. Be blessed. Sending love to you and yours, Catherine. I don't know. That's the weird thing about the dream realm and astral projection and what's going on. And are we open? I think that's why some people that wake up and see shadowy figures in their room, they're not necessarily frightened by them, maybe a little shocked, but then they're able to just roll over and go to sleep knowing you see a shadowy figure there. I wonder if those are our guardians that are there protecting and watching over us while we sleep, because we are particularly vulnerable during our sleep state. Are they there to watch over us? Is this what's misinterpreted as aliens in our bedroom or demons? I don't know. It's fascinating. I'm glad you found some ways to deal with it, Catherine, and I hope the prayers continue to help you. Let's see here. We've got another news story I wanted to get to, and then we'll get into a couple more emails. A gentleman claims he's found Bigfoot and has it on video. A YouTuber made a bizarre claim that he caught on his camera the footage of the shape of a Bigfoot on Cannock Chase. On his recent Chase visit, Joshua Lester Riggs said he heard the rustling in the woods that led him to film the event and look back at the images after it was concluded. He claimed he saw something that looked like crouching gorilla or Bigfoot. Apparently, an investigator has made claims to find the evidence of a legendary Bigfoot on his exploration visit into the wooded spot, which includes tracks and claw marks. Now, again, we have this news story up. The video itself is around 13, 14 minutes long. You'll have to watch it for yourself, see what you see. Let me know if you see a Bigfoot. The sightings of the Yeti-like creature, or at least its legends in the Cannock Chase, go back as far as into the 1800s. Joshua, an urban explorer, has always been curious of paranormal activity on this strip and has made claims that he had recorded unnormal voices and photographed these phantoms. In his newly released photos and video from his recent Chase trek, Joshua said, "So me and my friend went up to try and see if there's any truth to the reports of black-eyed children into the paranormal investigation. We left about 5:45 p.m. and had several locations to check out, including Birches Valley and Castle Ring hunting for black-eyed children or any other reports of hauntings there with a couple of friends. We first went to a field on Manstey Lane where the 2 young children were found back in the 60s relating to the A34 murders. Funny thing is, out of the blue, 2 police cars turned up as someone thought we were acting suspiciously. We chatted with them, explained what we were doing. They showed us a newspaper out of the car of Bigfoot on Cannock Chase on the front page of the Daily Star. After speaking to police, they went on their way as we carried on doing an investigation. We then headed to the next location by Birches Valley to visit where they found the other child from the 60s A34 murders. We found the spot, did some investigating, then headed to the dense trees nearby. This is where I took the photo at around 9:15 p.m. I took it, heard some rustling in the dense woods, but just thought it was probably animals. The rest of the night, we went to Birches Valley, a supposedly haunted crossroads near Stile Cop. Then our last location was Castle Ring, which we got to around midnight, did an investigation there before heading home. I don't know if it is Bigfoot or anything, but looking at the image, you can clearly see that it looks like some kind of gorilla as it's crouching, like hiding between the trees. And you can make out the knee, then the arm, and the head and face, according to this article. Now, after capturing this and finding it on the photo, I was shocked because it's not something you expect to find in the wild. Then, to make it more strange, what is the chance the police who asked us what we were doing there showed us an article of Bigfoot on the newspaper they had? It was reported in a different area on the chase, in the Gentleshaw area, which we were nowhere near, but still come across something that looks like this sort of gorilla Bigfoot in another area of the chase. Now, on the video on the left side, it looks similar to Bigfoot or a gorilla or something standing. And once we shine the torches into the darkened area, it slips around in front of the tree trying to avoid them. It's strange. The footage can't be 100% sure it's Bigfoot or gorilla, but considering it's around 10 minutes after the first image, means that they definitely captured something. So go check it out for yourself. Let me know by looking at the footage if you think they have in fact captured video or a photograph of a Bigfoot in Cannock Chase. All right, our next story is up. This is kind of an interesting little tale. A Scottish ghost hunter wants to reunite a soldier's Bible with the family after it mysteriously appeared in her home. A Scottish ghost hunter has been left facing a perplexing mystery after an old Bible used as a diary by a prisoner of war was discovered in her loft. Paranormal investigator and the Scottish Ghost Company host Yvonne Hides was shocked to discover the mysterious Bible in her attic room and was even more startled to discover that neither she nor her husband Alex had ever seen it before. The couple use the attic room frequently and are always up and down in the loft since moving to the house 24 years ago. Speaking to the Daily Record, Yvonne shared her amazement at the puzzling find. She said, "I was completely confused as I use the loft regularly. At first, I assumed my husband had been up there the same day and put it there. We had no idea who it belonged to or where it came from, as we have lived in the house for 24 years and are up and down in the loft regularly. Both of us have never seen this." The mystery deepened further when the pair began to ask around their family to see if anyone had a clue as to where it came from. Yvonne added, "We thought it might be connected to my gran, who lives in Erskine, hospital cottages, and links to the British Legion. When we took it to her, she also had no clue. No one else in the family knows anything about it or recognizes the man's name. We really have no idea who or where it came from. None. It doesn't belong to our family, that's for sure." The New Testament Bible is black in color and has notes and annotations written in pencil by the man who owned it. It features the name Robert Litterick, what appears to be an ID number, and the date 1901, 1944. So January 19th, 1944. It also has a stamp for M. Stammlager IV, one of the largest prisoner of war camps in Germany during World War II. Medium and fellow investigator for the Scottish Ghost Company, David McCabe, thinks he might have a theory as to where this mysterious gift may have come from. A few months before the Bible appeared, he and Yvonne had been on an investigation in an abandoned building near Ayrshire. Originally a care home, David explained that they made contact using their spirit box, which provides a voice for entities that may come across on that night. One claimed to be a soldier. David said, "I believe that is a classic example of an apportation, which is where an object disappears from one location or time and reappears in another. I think the original owner of the Bible was a resident at the derelict building that we investigated. Having figured out who we were and wanting his family to have his Bible, he decided to make it appear in Yvonne's loft, knowing she would come across it. The pair are now hoping to reunite the Bible with the man's family and asking anyone who may have an idea who the original family members or the owner," Yvonne said. "Anyone with any ideas can contact the team by email at thescottishghostcompany@gmail.com. Fascinating. And again, there's photographs of the Bible, the signatures, the names, if you recognize this. And I know we have a lot of listeners over in Scotland, Ireland, and England. If you recognize the name, you recognize any of the history, please make sure to reach out to them. Give them some closure and help them reunite this Bible with the family. Okay, our next story is here. And Carrie Katona is the topic of this story. Carrie Katona has been a bit spooked, I said. I don't know, I'm slipping into a Scottish brogue, by ghostly goings-on in her new home. The 41-year-old singer, who has Molly, age 20, and Lily, 18, with her first husband, Brian McFadden, Heidi, 14, and Max, 13, with second husband, Mark Croft, and 7-year-old DJ with her late third husband, George K., has witnessed lights flickering on and off for no apparent reason. And when she filmed the mysterious goings-on, there were other things happening when she watched the recording back. She revealed in her column for New Magazine, "I've been left feeling a bit spooked after having seen some strange goings-on in the house. I was sitting in my living room and the light kept flickering. So I started filming it. A green light appeared on the video before it disappeared behind my sofa, and then an orb started floating towards the camera. I posted it all on Instagram, and some people thought it was just a reflection from the flash of my phone, while others were saying it could be a spirit. I just think it's really bizarre. While Carrie hasn't lived in Cheshire property for very long, she isn't surprised to be witnessing weird things, as she's always been followed by mysterious happenings. She added, to be honest, though, I'm used to stuff like that. Weird things like lights going on and off always happen wherever I live. I've had it around me my whole life. The former Atomic Kitten star previously revealed that she had to bring in a paranormal activity team because of a ghostly presence that wanted to take her son away. She said, last month, we had paranormal activity team at our house. It was about 6 years ago. They told us there was a man in the house called John, and he wanted us to leave, and that he wanted my son Max. It was then when George was still alive, and they also told us that John gave George Bell's palsy. Very strange. Weird-ass stories. It's interesting to see how people relate to paranormal and what type of activity takes place. Does it mean that there are other aspects of the supernatural at play here? Is it multi-layering effect, time slip phenomena, future hauntings, or is it all of it going on at once in some kind of cataclysmic tsunami of supernatural forces? Weird stuff. Hey guys, I feel like I've been writing to you guys a lot lately. Sorry about that. I will say that I take a lot of pride in the fact that my writing hasn't caused Dave to stumble and complain that people don't proofread. I had my first paranormal experience in Edinburgh Manor this weekend and needed to share it with the Darkness family. I'm not sure if you're familiar with or have ever visited Edinburgh Manor, so I will give a short synopsis for the listeners. From 1850 to 1910, Edinburgh was the Jones County, Iowa poorhouse and gave refuge to the poor, the elderly, and the mentally ill. They would exchange food and housing for work. The original building was demolished in 1910, and the current property was erected shortly after. The current facility housed some of the same demographics, but also criminally insane men and women. The manor was operational until 2010. After much ado, my experience, I am a local artist, and my paintings typically depict oddities, spiritual and macabre subjects. I had been trying to think of creative ways to stage my art to photograph the market. The concept of photographing it is in a notoriously haunted location just felt very on brand. I had been to Edinburgh Manor once before in early October. I scheduled a time with the owner to photograph my art in the manor. As the day grew closer, I decided to book another daytime tour so I could scout the location a bit. My experience occurred on this daytime tour. Towards the end of the tour, I got to talking with the guide about our mutual love of Stephen King novels and everything spooky. I realized I was the last visitor in the building and quickly apologized for holding her up. She offered to take me on her last rounds of the facility to ensure everyone had left. I jumped at the opportunity. We were ascending the main staircase, and I noticed my camera started throwing several errors on the screen. I chalked it up to, possibly hitting a button accidentally. I said to the guide, I've been to a lot of haunted locations, and Edinburgh Manor twice now, and I just haven't had an experience. I was really hoping to have one today. I was starting to wonder if I was just a paranormal repellent like Tim. Seconds later, we were walking down the second floor men's wing. As we passed a large 2.5 or 3 inch solid wood access panel with a mirror attached, dislodged from the wall and fell on top of us. These doors are recessed into the wall and secured with hinges on the right and silver security latches on the left. Edinburgh Manor is a surprisingly good condition given its age. It certainly isn't falling apart. And I'm fairly skeptical about the chances of the building falling apart in that specific moment. They're just too astronomical. The most unnerving part of it being potentially supernatural is that there was an intelligent being actively listening to our conversation and reacting to the fact that I was doubting how active the building was. It sure showed me. Edinburgh Manor has a very real and palpable pull to it, and I can't wait to see how it reacts to me. I attached a photo to my email so you can see what I'm talking about. I took this image on my first visit. I also attached a link on my portfolio should you and Tim be curious. Yeah, boy, that's crazy. As soon as you talk about the fact, I really want to have an experience, I want to see something, and then it practically throws itself at you. It did seem like something was trying to get your attention, that's for sure. Ghosts, vampires, and Nicolas Cage. Myths that go beyond Halloween. Ghosts, werewolves, and even the belief that actor Nicolas Cage is a vampire. Social networks harbor theories about phenomena, paranormal, and Halloween myths that, despite how crazy they may seem, have become one of the most entrenched forms of misinformation. Fantastic explanations of everyday events or historical events are published on the internet every day. Narratives that come to life with force on All Saints' Eve in Spain, on the night of Halloween celebrated in the Anglo-Saxon world, or the Day of the Dead in Mexico. Despite their grotesque nature, some of these theories have a significant influence, according to what various sociological studies reveal. Wolfmen, haunted houses, and zombies. In the context of misinformation generated by the COVID-19 vaccines, a viralized falsehood stands out in Bolivia that affirmed that those who receive injections of these drugs became wolfmen that devour human beings. The deception is one of many that stem from a lie that these drugs modify the genome of those vaccinated, denied on numerous occasions by health authorities, medical experts, and verifiers. Another incredible claim popularized on the internet is that Nicolas Cage is an immortal vampire after an antique dealer who asked for $1 million on eBay for a photograph from 1870. Now, this photograph, if you're watching online, you'll see it for yourself. If you go to the article at darknessradio.com and click on the news tab, you'll see why. It's pretty interesting. Cage himself humorously denied the theory in an interview on David Letterman's television show that he was a vampire, but the photograph is pretty compelling. There's a photograph side-by-side that we have where you can see this guy from the 1800s and then a photograph of Nicolas Cage directly next to him with the same mustache, and it is eerily familiar. I mean, very, very creepy. The only thing different are the ears, but the eyes, the eyebrows, the nose, the mustache, even the mouth shape and chin, and the cleft in the chin are strange. The high forehead, it is definitely a bizarre photograph. We've talked about it over the years, but if you haven't seen it yet, you can go check it out for yourself. Good God. On Facebook or YouTube, there are also widely spread publications with alleged evidence of spectral manifestations. The perception that a place can be owned by spirits of the afterlife is the paranormal belief widespread among citizens of the United States, according to a study carried out in 2018 by the University of Chapman. The aforementioned research indicates that 58% of those surveyed think that this possibility is real. This analysis of paranormal beliefs is part of a survey on the fears of Americans carried out by the same University of Chapman, which in its edition this year indicates that 9.3% of the 1,000 respondents in the whole country believe in ghosts and zombies. Then there is, of course, the difficulty of refuting paranormal beliefs. This broad support may be due to the difficulty of science to disprove hypotheses based on paranormal phenomena. Now, defining the boundaries between science and pseudoscience is a century-old philosophical debate known as the demarcation problem. In the specific area of explanations that resort to paranormal causes, the complication lies in the fact that proving the non-existence of something is impossible for reason, explains Miguel Vasquez, professor of philosophy at the University of Madrid. There are arguments linked to forms of belief that are on the fringes of reason, say Vasquez. On the contrary, the rejection of the existence of ghosts is due to the practical sense of life, to the knowledge based on experience that they are not real, without the need for the endorsement of science. Nobody asks a quantum physicist if ghosts exist at CERN laboratory, the European Organization for Nuclear Research in Switzerland, because that would be the equivalent to asking questions of a medieval philosophy in a particle accelerator, whose experiments, they cost billions of euros. For his part, though, Lars Arthur Tump, researcher at the Center for Logic and Philosophy of Science at the University of Belgium, abounds in the fact that the claims about paranormal phenomena cannot be refuted with scientific criteria does not mean they are true. In this case, Tump quotes, I have to be careful with that because I keep wanting to say Trump. My eyes want to say that word, and it's Tump, T-U-M-P. Tump quotes a passage from The World and Its Demons, Science as a Light in the Dark by Carl Sagan, in which the well-known astrophysicist points out that the inability to invalidate a hypothesis is not an absolute the same as proving it is true. something to scratch your head about. And since Nick Cage is in the headlines, and the vampire picture has resurfaced and people are talking about it again, that leads us to our next story. Nicolas Cage has been tapped to play Dracula in Universal's upcoming movie Renfield. Nicolas Cage is slated to play Dracula in the Universal upcoming monster film Renfield, which centers on the infamous vampire's fabled henchman. Directed by Chris McKay, the brain behind Amazon's The Tomorrow War and the Lego Batman movie, Renfield will also star Nicholas Hoult as the titular character, which first originated in Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula. The origin story film is expected to take place in the present day, and it is unclear how much of the plot will align with the aforementioned source material. Now, in Stoker's thriller, Renfield was a patient in an asylum where he was thought to be suffering from delusions that made him eat living creatures in search of immortality. It's later revealed, however, that the character is controlled by Count Dracula himself. Ryan Ridley, who is best known for his work on Fox's Ghosted and Adult Swim's Rick and Morty, wrote the script based on an outline from Robert Kirkman. That's right, the same Robert Kirkman that created The Walking Dead. Not much else is known about the storyline, though the Hollywood Reporter has confirmed that the film is comedic in tone. Renfield will be produced by Skybound Entertainment's team, which includes Kirkman, David Alpert, Brian First, Sean First, and additionally McKay's producing partner Samantha Niesenbaum will take on the executive producing role. So what do you think? If it's a comedy and Nick Cage is Dracula, I could see it. I don't know that I see him in the titular role of Vlad Dracula any other way. I just don't. I know there's people out there that are going to hate me for that. All right, listen, my zombie uprising story seems to have taken a little life of its own, or afterlife of its own, with a new story. If you were watching this, what a terrifying photograph has been captured here. It is insane. A zombie shark. Yeah, you heard me say that, right? A zombie shark is still swimming despite being half eaten. Footage has emerged of a shark that has managed to keep swimming despite suffering horrendous injuries. And these injuries, horrendous might be an understatement. A researcher spotted a shark still hunting for prey despite being half eaten. Dr. Mario Labrado and his group were realizing an oceanic black-tip shark into the sea when it was mauled in a cannibalistic attack. It is so bizarre. So bizarre. I've got video of this thing, and I'm going to show it here in a second. The Spanish scientists captured the incredibly rare footage off the shore of Mozambique, about 1 to 2 meters below the ocean's surface, the Sun reports. According to the researcher, the blacktip was set upon by other sharks, including several bull sharks, which he estimated to weigh about 300 to 400 kilograms. Yet despite the attack and a large portion of its lower body missing, the blacktip shark continued to swim on for his life as it was just seen swimming away. Dr. Labrado explained that the shark had struggled for around 20 minutes before succumbing to its injuries. Sharks eat sharks. That's well known, but it's super difficult to film and document, he said. In 2019, rare images emerged with, where did it go? Rare images emerged which showed the bloody aftermath of a vicious fight between two great white sharks. The terrifying pictures supported previous theories that sharks will eat each other. At the time, Professor Mark Meakin from the Australian Institute for Marine Science said it's not just one rogue shark attacking other sharks, or even one species of shark attacking other sharks. It's a lot of different sharks turning on each other. Now, he believes that the attacks have been steadily on the rise because of the way humans are trying to keep the hungry predators away from swimmers. When sharks are caught in nets and on baited hook lines, they send out distress signals that are picked up by rival predators, which fancy an easy meal. Previous research showed that these sharks have been eating each other for more than 1,000 years. An examination of fossilized feces taken from prehistoric Orthocanus, a type of shark that swam the oceans 300 million years ago, found it contained fossilized baby shark teeth. Professor Meakin said that shows that 300 million years ago, these were cannibal sharks. Shark-on-shark predation is a fundamental trait, according to this doctor. Now, I'm going to warn you, I'm going to show this video, so if you're watching it, the photograph itself is pretty disturbing. But the image, the video of it swimming by, even more so, in my opinion. It is a very bizarre image. And let me pull it up here. Give me a second. Patience, my friend. All right, let me get this on, and I'm going to go ahead and share this. And here comes the zombie shark. Oh, it looks like it's right out of Resident Evil. Unbelievable. Just swimming around, literally missing half of its body. That is so strange, utterly bizarre, totally unusual. Thank you for spending a little time with me today, Supernatural News and Parashare. It's been a pleasure. And remember, you got to go visit the American Snallygaster Museum. The link for that is on today's program guide. And we want to celebrate our friend Snally with this big news. So check it out. Remember to keep prayers and thoughts going for Timmy D for full and utter recovery from this devastating blow of COVID-19 that he's dealing with. So keep those prayers, good thoughts and energy, healing thoughts, everything coming his way. And remember to check out Holzer Files Hell Frozen Over event January 7th through the 9th at the Palmer House Hotel in Sauk Center, Minnesota. You can get tickets at darknessevents.com for our general admission part of the program. The ghost hunts are sold out, but the tours, the ghost talks, all of the presentations, it's all included in the general admission ticket, and you can go get those. They're selling up quickly, so I hope you'll go check them out for yourself at darknessevents.com. That's it for today. We'll see you again here tomorrow with more of the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio.